This is our time in history to do something about it. Well, hey, my name is Steven Whitlow, and over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be going through a brand new series called Thirst, because people need water, where we're going to be talking about a problem that exists in the world. I want to say hi to everyone joining us at the White House campus and the Toledo campus. Good to have you guys. I want to give a special welcome to everybody at all of our campuses who's brand new. If this is your first time to Vertical, we're really glad that you've decided to join us. We're not just saying that, we actually mean it. Vertical is a place for every single high school student. We think there's room for every high school student at Vertical, especially over these next 2 weeks where we talk about this important problem. I think problems are something we're familiar with. They're something that we all deal with. In fact, right now, at all of the campuses, if you could just all take a deep breath. Everyone just kind of, as we get into this, everyone take a deep breath. Okay, now this is what I want you to say. I just want you to look at somebody. I want you to say, I've got problems. All right. I mean, doesn't that just feel good to just admit it, to get it out? I've got problems. Now, why don't you go ahead and just take a look at somebody else and tell them, you've got problems. Right. Yes. I've got problems. You've got problems. We all got problems, all right? It makes us feel so much better, I think, when we just admit that we've got problems, okay? I'm not perfect. I've got problems, okay? And problems are something that we're all familiar with. And when we identify a problem in our life, we have this, natural thing inside of us where we then also try to identify a solution. So you identify the problem, you identify the solution, and then you have a choice to make. Am I going to take action or not? If I've identified the problem, if I've identified the solution, am I going to take action? And today, what we're going to do is we're going to identify two real problems that exist. One of the real problems that exists plagues 1 billion people around the world. The other problem that exists affects every person, every one of us. Every person who's ever been born, every person who is alive now, and every person whoever will be. And we're not just going to identify these problems. We're going to identify real solutions to these problems. And then at the end of tonight, you're each going to have a choice to take action or not to take action on both of these problems. After we've identified the solution, what are you going to do with the solution that's been presented? So I've got problems, you've got problems, we've all got problems. A couple of weeks ago, I guess it'd be a couple weeks ago now, I had a problem in my apartment, and that is that the light in my front room wasn't working. And so me being the scientific handy guy that I am, tried to figure out why it wasn't working, and I diagnosed the problem, okay, and then I diagnosed the solution, which is that I needed to change my light bulb. And so I went up, I looked at the light fixture, and I was like, all right, I just got to change my light bulb here. And but there was a problem, and that was that there was a lighting fixture over the light bulb, so I couldn't change the light bulb because this lighting fixture was over there, and it was, screws in, and so I needed a screwdriver to unscrew it so I could take it down. I don't have a screwdriver, which there's a solution to that. You could go to Walmart, but I don't like Walmart, so I didn't really have a solution. So I was stuck. And so for 4 months, I didn't have a light in my front room. I just sat in there, I'd walk in, I'd flip the switch, nothing would happen, and I would just go in and I would do nothing, and I just didn't sit in my front room because I didn't have a light, because there wasn't a light bulb and lighting fixture and all that kind of stuff. And after about 4 months of living in darkness, okay, I'd identified the problem, I'd really identified the solution, I just didn't want to do anything with it. So 4 months of living in darkness, what I did is a friend of mine came over, and he's like, dude, you should turn on the light. And I was like, well, the light doesn't work because I got to change the light bulb and the lighting fixture, I don't have a screwdriver. And he's like, well, I have a screwdriver in my car. Do you want me to just go get that? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. Problem solved, right? And he said, well, before I go do that, do you want, have you just tried to unscrew it with your fingers? Have you tried that? I was like, well, no. He's like, well, you should try that. I was like, well, that probably wouldn't work because then there wouldn't be screwdrivers. And he's like, well, you should just try it anyway. So I got a chair, went over there, climbed up on the chair, and guess what? You could just unscrew it with your fingers. So I unscrewed it with my fingers, changed the light bulb, and boom, I had a light. Problem solved. Problem, solution. The solution was right in front of me. It was my fingers, okay? The solution was right there all along. And a lot of times with problems, the solution is right in front of us. It's not hard to figure it out. It's not hard to find. There's a solution that is there. We, you, me, just have to take action. And so we're going to talk about a couple problems in the world that we can take action on. In order to do this, we're going to look at the book of John. And the book of John is a biography written by a guy named John about a guy named Jesus. Maybe you've heard of him. And this story is about Jesus, and he's actually in the story. And so John, who loved Jesus, followed Jesus, wrote this story about Jesus. And we're going to read that because it identifies both problems in this one story. And so we're going to read John chapter 4, and we're going to start in verse 7. You can follow along on the screens. And it says this: Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, "Please give me a drink." I want you to think about this for a second. Jesus, king of the universe kind of thing. Remember, he didn't have like a t-shirt that said "I'm Jesus." So this woman doesn't know who he is. Just a random dude at a well. Woman comes up. He's like, "Hey, can I get a drink?" Why would Jesus ask for a drink? He's thirsty, right? Yeah, he's thirsty. So he wanted a drink. And so he asked for a drink because that's what thirsty people do. Because thirsty people need water. We need water. You need water. I need water. We all need water because you can go 40 days without food and be fine, but you can go 3 to 5 days without water or you'll die. People need water. You draw a video, which is probably a relevant depiction of your life. You wake up in the morning, right? You go into the bathroom and you take a 6, 7, 8, 40-minute shower before you go downstairs, and then you pour your cereal, you pour your milk, and then you drink your milk, and then you get in your car, and on your way to school, you stop and you buy a coffee for 99 cents at McDonald's, and you get to school, and then you get a water bottle, you fill that up with water for your morning classes, and then you go to lunch, and you spend $1.50 on a Gatorade, and then you fill up your water bottle again, and then you go after school, and then after school, you either go to sports practice where you can drink more water, or you're going to buy an energy drink or a sports drink or something like that, and then, or if you don't play sports, then you go home. But before you go home, you stop at McDonald's or Speedway or something, and you get like a 96-ounce iced tea for like 44 cents. And you drink like 3 of them. Then you get home, okay? You get home, and then you hang out at home for a little while, and then maybe you'll take another, 40-minute shower, 10-minute shower, 20-minute shower, whatever it might be. Or you're going to grab some more water, or you're going to get, after dinner, you're going to get on Facebook, you're going to do Facebook chat, you're going to watch Glee, and you're going to drink a Dr. Pepper or Coke or Pepsi or some type of pop. And all through the day, basically everything we do involves some kind of beverage. Why? Because people need water. And listen, I'm not against those things. I love those things, okay? It is like fall, which means I've been drinking pumpkin spice lattes, and I'm totally okay with that. And in Thanksgiving, okay, then they're going to start coming out with the peppermint hot chocolate, and I'm going to drink a bunch of those because between Thanksgiving and Christmas, that's what you do. You go to Starbucks and you buy peppermint hot chocolate. And I'm okay with that because people need water or hot chocolate. We need it. It fills us. It makes us unthirsty when we were thirsty. People need water. People need water so that we can take showers. People need water so that when we go to the bathroom, we don't have to just go pitch it in the backyard. People need water, okay? Because like when you wake up to take that shower, you're really glad that you're not like, bathing in a tub that you bathed in yesterday, but your mom also bathed in it, and your dad did, and your brother did, and your sister did, and your brother probably peed in it, okay? Like, that's why we need water. And that's okay. I'm totally into that. Like, I don't want to bathe in someone else's pee. You don't either. People need water. We need water. And whenever we have water issues here in America, we can solve them relatively quickly. Okay, it's either like $3, all right, at Starbucks, or we turn on a faucet. And we're all good. We're all set. And it's okay because people need water. Now, let me tell you about a problem. A problem that probably you already know exists, but I just want to make sure that we have a clear understanding that there is no confusion on the problem. There's a problem that we need to identify. 1 billion people around the world don't have access to clean drinking water. And that's a problem, a real problem. It's a problem because the average kid, 14 and under, in a developing nation, in their own body, has 1,000 parasitic worms inside of them. Why? Because they don't have access to clean water. And that's a problem. People need water because of all the people in hospital beds around the world, 50% of them wouldn't be in those hospital beds if they had access to clean water. And that's a problem. People need water because in Africa alone, women and children spend 40 billion hours walking to the closest water and then walking back, meaning they can't get educated, they can't be with their families, they can't get jobs. They spend most of their life walking and coming back for water that infects their children with 1,000 parasitic worms. And that's a real problem. I think you hear these statistics, we hear these statistics, and we would all, I think, agree and understand that's a problem. Like that's not okay. People need water. People need water because on average, every 19 seconds, someone dies of a water-related cause. How long have we been in here? We started the clock in your campus, and every 19 seconds, tally mark comes up, and you can probably do the math. That's a problem. People need water because out of those deaths, 85% of them are to people 14 and under. And that's a problem. People need water because out of those deaths, 50% of them, nearly 50% of them, are due to a cause that all of us have probably experienced at one time and probably joked about. Diarrhea. Which is kind of funny until you think that on average, it takes one life every minute. And that's a problem. There's a problem. We've identified it. It's sitting there. We know it. And what can happen is like me in my apartment, 4 months can go by and you can do nothing. In some cases, 4 months go by and then 4 years and then 4 decades, 4 centuries, 4 generations, whatever. And the problem never gets fixed. That's a problem. So here's this problem that's just sitting there. It's just there. What's the solution? I mean, what do we do when we're faced with that type of solution? Because I would have bet that each and every one of you would think, well, yeah, that sucks. Like, I'm not pumped about that. Like, I'm not happy about that. Like, that's not, that's not good. I think we all know that. And I think what we can't do is we can't, like, guilt ourselves into, like, I gotta do something, we can't, have this, like, sad kind of guilt, like, hey, no. I mean, that doesn't work. We've seen the commercials. We've seen that stuff. That doesn't necessarily change our actions. And so as people who are following Jesus, because at Vertical, we follow Jesus because we think he's king. We think he's everything. We think that following Jesus was what life is all about. We think that we follow Jesus because he is the best way to live life. In fact, as the story went on here, Jesus is talking, and it goes down here, and if you're on the slides here, you can kind of skip to verse 9. It says this: the woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" In other words, she's saying, well, Jesus, I hear your problem, but I'm not your solution. Find something else. And then Jesus says this. He says, "If you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water." Now, in the midst of this conversation that Jesus is having with this woman, he, shifts things very brilliantly and very cleverly. He, changes the conversation. I don't even know if the woman picks up on it right away, but that's what Jesus does. See, there's another passage of Scripture where Jesus tells us that when we follow Jesus, we should be inspired, compelled, motivated, pumped up to help people. There's even a verse that says, when you give someone a drink of water, it's like giving me a drink of water. So Jesus is all about helping people who need water. But first, and I think that's what Jesus is doing here in this story, he's saying, before you decide that you're going to go help someone else with water, you got to make another decision first. You got to decide how you feel about me. You got to decide how you feel about Jesus. You, student, have to decide how you feel about Jesus. See, if we want to make a real change, if we really want to serve people, if we really want to love people who need water, and if we want to do it from really the proper motive, it comes from a motive of accepting what Jesus has done for us as our motivation to help other people. And so Jesus, he knows that, so he's telling this woman that. And then the woman says this, "But sir, you don't have a rope or a bucket, and this well is very deep. Where would you get this living water? And besides, do you think you're greater than our ancestor Jacob, who gave us this well? How can you offer better water than he and his sons and his animals enjoyed?" Jesus replied, Anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again. I mean, have you experienced that physically? Like, okay, I ran a marathon when I was 19, and I did do a 20-mile training run in the midst of that marathon, and I didn't make it 20 miles. I made it 18 miles, and then I collapsed, and then I had to call my dad in downtown Maumee to come pick me up. And the reason is because I didn't drink any water. And you're not supposed to run, I think, more than 7 miles without drinking water. I ran 18 in the summer. It was bad. I was dehydrated. So then I went home, and I drank some water. Then I woke up the next day, and I had to run 6 the next day. And guess what? I was thirsty again. And that's how our bodies work. Our bodies need hydration, and then we hydrate it, and then it needs hydration again, and then it goes over and over again, and it's a constant cycle. And Jesus looks at this woman, and he says, hey, listen, I could give you water, but you're going to be thirsty again. But before that happens, let me tell you about something else that people need, something else that every person needs, something else that I need, that you need. See, at the beginning, you all admitted something to me, that you got a problem. I've got a problem. We all got problems. Let me tell you one of our problems. One of our problems is this. We wake up every day, each and every one of us wakes up, and we live for a purpose. I live for a purpose, you live for a purpose. We all live for a purpose every single day. Some of you, your purpose is this. I want to get really good grades, so I get into a really good college, so I get a really good job. Some of your purpose is this. I'm going to wear this to impress him, to date him, to do this with him. Some of your purpose is, I'm going to get really buff, and I'm going to lift a bunch of weights, so I impress her, so I'll date her, so I can do this with her. Some of your purpose looks a little better than that, maybe. It's your future. So I'm going to have the perfect family, the perfect wife, the perfect husband, the perfect kids, the perfect house. That's my purpose. Some of you, your purpose is what school you're going to go to, or how well you're going to do in your sport, or what you're going to accomplish throughout high school. And you know what your purpose is? Because it's what you wake up, it's what you're most excited about. You know what your purpose is? It's because when it doesn't happen, it's what makes you most disappointed. You know what your purpose is? Because when it does happen, it's what makes you the most excited of anything in life. That's the purpose that normally we're looking for. But here's the thing. I think when Jesus said, if you do this, you're going to be thirsty again, I don't think he was just talking about our bodies. I think he was talking about our souls. Because see, people need purpose. And that's a problem. We need purpose. How have you ever said this? I can't wait until this. You probably have. At some point in life, you probably said, I can't wait until this. And what you were really saying is like, this is it. When I get to that, then I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be happy. Life's going to be better. As soon as I accomplish this, as soon as I accomplish that, it'll be okay. As soon as I get an A in math, as soon as I make the team, as soon as I get to start, as soon as I'm first team all-league, as soon as I graduate high school, as soon as I graduate college, as soon as I get married, as soon as I have kids, as soon as this, as soon as that. And if you haven't figured it out yet, what you will figure out is that you will get there probably. But when you do, you'll want something else. You'll get there probably. But when you do, you'll want something else. You'll become thirsty again for whatever it was. And you'll get into a cycle of life from one purpose to the next. And you'll live a life saying, I just want to get there and get there and get there. And someday you'll look back and you'll say, man, I never got there. But I got there, but I didn't get there because I still want to get somewhere else. That's a real problem. People need purpose. And Jesus presents a real solution. He says the problem is you need purpose. The solution is not any of those things. Girls, the solution is not a new boyfriend or a better boyfriend or a kinder boyfriend or your boyfriend when he changes. Dudes, the solution is not being really good at your sport or having a really hot girlfriend or making a lot of money someday. Because you might get those things. But when you get there, you'll want something else. The solution is something so much bigger, so much deeper, something that truly satisfies, not just once, but forever. A relationship with Jesus. See, that's why Jesus came. That's why Jesus lived a perfect life. That's why Jesus died. That's why Jesus was resurrected. And that's why Jesus is in heaven right now. To give purpose to our lives. To identify with something bigger than ourselves. To wake up every morning and say, I'm living for one thing. Jesus. And his book, his words promise that if we truly find a way to live for that and only that, we'll find satisfaction, not just in this life, but for eternity. Problem? Solution. Before you go, I'm going to give you an opportunity to take action on that. Now, back to this other problem that we talked about. People need water. People need water because during that whole little talk, a couple more 19 seconds happened. People need water. We think you can make a difference. Over the whole world, the best proposed solution for this water problem is access to clean water. And to date, the best way to provide access to clean water is through wells. Wells in neighborhoods or in local towns or villages across the world that provide access to clean water for some of the billion people who need it. Problem, solution. But here's another problem. Wells aren't free. Wells cost money. About $5,000. $5,000 builds a well for 250 people. And if you look around the building that you're in, there's probably somewhere around 250 people in it. And 250 people might not be a billion, but I bet if something were happening in this building and somebody around the world could do something to save us, you hoped that they would do it. And I bet that there's 250 people in a country that we're going to focus in, Honduras, that hope that we do something, like build a well. People need water, and you can make a difference. Like me in my apartment, the solution is right in front of us. It's us. It's us. We're the solution. Us doing something. Us taking action to a problem that we've identified. And we're going to challenge you guys as high school students to take action. We're going to challenge you, I think, in a way that we've probably never challenged high school students before, to take action on a problem that exists that you can make a difference in. And we're going to challenge you to take action so that 250 people's lives are changed through your actions, through your decisions. And next week, we're going to get into that challenge, and we're going to lay it all out and say, this is what we're doing as a group. Why? Because Jesus has given us purpose. He's given us purpose. And because he has, we want to live on purpose. And one of those purposes is to love people all across the world and to do something for them that they might not be able to do for themselves, but we can do for them. Because that's exactly what Jesus did. He did something for us that we couldn't do ourselves. And now it's our turn. Tonight, we're going to take some baby steps. We're going to take a couple small steps of a way for you to pledge your support and your commitment tonight as we get ready for the challenge next week. And here's my hope at all campuses, that next week, the room you're in is filled with more students. Because if we're going to accomplish what we want to accomplish, if we're going to build a well in Honduras that costs $5,000 to help 250 people, I think it's going to take a lot of high school students. And fortunately, Vertical is a place for every single high school student. So next week, when we pick this back up, I hope that someone's with you, because people need water and they can make a difference too. So let me talk to you about some baby steps. Right now, at every campus, get your cell phone out. You all got them. Get them out. 98% of you have them. The other 2, ask for Christmas. Get your cell phone out, and don't do what it says on the screen to do yet. I want you to listen to me. I'm going to ask you in a second to text the word thirst, T-I-H-R, well, you know how to spell it, okay? Text thirst to 62. My dad only paid like $100,000 for my education. It's cool, okay? T-H-I-R-S-T. I got it. There you go. Okay. Text thirst to 62953. I'm going to ask you to do that. But before you do that, I want you to know what you're doing. You're pledging your support. You're saying, I'm in. I want to make a difference. People need water. I can make a difference. And by you doing that, we get to see how many students do that at all of our campuses. So we can say, man, 400 students are committed to making a difference. So if you're serious, text thirst right now to 62953. Some of you already did. Hope you're serious. Text thirst to 62953. It's just a small step, a baby step of something we're going to do this week. On your way out today, you're going to get a button that looks like this right here. Small. Maybe you can see it. If you can't see it, they exist, I promise. You're going to get a button, and I'm going to ask you to kind of prominently wear it. Put it on your wrist. Put it on a T-shirt. Put it on your book bag. Put it on a book cover. Do something. And when somebody says, hey, what is that? You're going to say this. People need water. You can make a difference. Join me at Vertical next week. People need water. You can make a difference. Join me at Vertical next week. Rally, support, and awareness for this cause because people need water and you can make a difference. And so you're going to get one of those on your way out. And maybe you have friends or whatever that have never heard of Vertical or never been to Vertical. And so if you don't have, if you want to grab an extra one of these and a verticallife.tv button, you can grab that. You can grab an extra bracelet. And you can actually use this as like an invite card this week where you can give it all to them. And when they say, hey, why are you giving this to me? You're going to say this. People need water. You can make a difference. Come to Vertical with me next week. We're just taking baby steps here because if we're gonna make this happen, I think we need help. We need every high school student. And here's the deal: $5,000 is that's just one well. We could build 2 wells. We could build 3 wells. I don't know what you guys are capable of, but I know this: when high school students put their mind into something and their hearts, they're capable of a lot. On your way out, you might grab this piece of paper that looks just like this, and you might use this to go talk to your principal or your teacher or your coach or anybody who leads a group that you're a part of. And you might say, hey, we all need to get involved in this because people need water and we can make a difference. And you might grab this on your way out. And maybe if you're bold enough and you're crazy enough and you believe about this passionately enough, you get your entire school on board. There's actually one school already in Toledo that we've been talking to about doing an entire month, and we're going to just call it Thirst Month. And that entire month is going to be about raising money for this project because people need water and you can make a difference. Another small thing you could do, pull your cell phones back out. I know, I don't ever tell you to do this, but hey. And if you have access to Facebook or Twitter right now, update your status or tweet this: verticallife.tv/thirst. 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 That's our website. We made this website specifically for this, and that 2-minute video that you saw with Paige and Cody walking around and doing cool things with their hair, okay, that one, that's on there. You'll see that, and we can raise awareness for this because people need water, and you can make a difference. So update your status or your Twitter right now and do that. Get it out so people can see this. And when they ask you about it, say, people need water, you can make a difference. Join me at Vertical next week to hear how. I hope you're catching on to something here. People need water, you can make a difference. Join me at Vertical. You're right. I've said it a couple times. These are baby steps, guys, because next week, the challenge comes out. We're going to issue a challenge. We're going to ask you guys to respond. We're going to ask you to be unlike me in my apartment, not to sit around for 4 months, but to take action and to do something. And we believe that you can do something and you will do something and it will make a difference. It will make a difference. And we're excited about that. So, that's what's going to happen on your way out. Right now, I'm going to take a minute, and I want to pray with all of you guys, with all of you at the campuses. And we're going to pray, and we're not just going to pray for the one problem. We're going to pray for both problems, guys. We're going to pray for both problems because both are problems, both have solutions, and you need to take action. Maybe when I was talking earlier today about the fact that we need purpose and you were thinking, I don't know what my purpose is, or I feel like I'm living for this, or I was living for that, and then I got it and it didn't satisfy me, and now I want something else, and I don't want to do that my entire life. I feel like I have a problem and I need a solution. The solution is Jesus. Maybe you felt that earlier. Maybe you felt God tugging at your heart, and I want to give you an opportunity to respond to that. And then I'm going to pray for our thirst movement, that God might use you as high school students, you as high school students who say that you're following Jesus, to do something really cool around the world. So, if you guys would at all the campuses, just go ahead and close your eyes. We're going to pray. Right now, I want to just talk to all of you who would say, listen, I'm looking for purpose. I'm looking for something in my life different than what I'm living now. Maybe God's been calling on your heart over the last couple of weeks, or maybe it just happened tonight. And you're saying, I want to live for something more than me. I got a problem, and Jesus is the only solution to that. The Bible calls one of our problems sin. It says that we're all plagued by sin, but Jesus' death on the cross covers our sin, and connects us back to God and gives us purpose. And you can believe in Jesus tonight and start living a life of real purpose. If that's you right there, if the words that I just said, if that speaks to you, then right where you're at with your eyes closed, pray this quietly where I'm at. God, I've got a problem. I'm living for something other than you. I've messed up. There's sin in my life. But I believe that Jesus is a greater purpose, that his death on the cross connects me to a deeper purpose. And I want to follow you with my life. Pray that just where you're at. And I would wonder, at all the campuses, with all eyes closed, and I really mean that, if you prayed that prayer, here's the deal. I just want to identify you, not to embarrass you or anything like that. I just want to see if maybe God did something in someone's heart tonight. And so if you prayed that prayer, I would wonder if you would just raise your hand. Just raise your hand, and kind of high so I can see it, because I really just want to see maybe that God did something in your life tonight. You can go ahead and put it down. And there were hands up all over the auditoriums. And I want you to know that if you did that, and that was the first time that you've done that in your life, that your life has changed. You've said yes to Jesus. The rest of your life is on purpose now. It's on purpose. And you need to get connected. And so I'd love to talk with you after the service if that was you. Let me pray for our movement. God, I pray that these high school students would rise up to the challenge of making a difference around the world. God, I pray that this week that they would take steps to invite, to inspire, to encourage, and to fill this auditorium and the other auditoriums across the city up with students so that we can make a real difference around the world, because people need water and you've called us to make a difference. So we pray that we would raise some money so that 250 people in Honduras could have access to clean water. We pray this in your name. Amen.